So for today's culinary adventure, we are making piirakka.
That was slave here, this one's a white.
Oh, that's from the storage downstairs. We were just downstairs in the storage room getting Christmas decorations. So, Karjalanpiirakka is what we're making today. It's a rye bread, a thin rye bread dough wrapped around either a rice pudding or a mashed potato. We're making potato today because now rice used to be my favorite, but now I really like the potato ones. So we're making those today. So the recipe on this one's pretty basic actually. For the crust, it's 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 tablespoons melted butter, 1 cup white flour, 2 cups rye flour. So pretty straightforward, but and we're doubling the recipe today too, so we have some left over for Christmas. So we don't eat them all. And then we made the mashed potatoes last night, so it's all ready to go. We just got to whip them up a little bit, soften them up, and it should be good. And then butter and milk mixture for basting while you're baking them. So we ran out of milk, so we had to take a quick run to the grocery store to pick up some more milk. I made the mashed potatoes last night, which turned out pretty good, but they're a little bit more dried up this morning, so I'm adding a little bit more butter and milk to them to soften them up before we make piirakkas. Now the dough is almost ready to roll out, so now we're going to roll it out flat and then make little circles and then roll those out.
Karjalan
Lisa Mama she had lost her thumb in an accident, and then so the damage from that, this index finger was stuck in one position and the tip of it was cocked in like that. So she got used to using that, so it was like a little machine gun when she'd go around and do the piirakka. She'd fold them in, so it almost like she was cheating. It would be so fast at it. So for this batch, we're going to take them out every 5 minutes to baste them with the butter and milk. And they're going to cook for 15 minutes at 450 total. So this basting is just a milk and butter. So what we're going to do, what it calls for in this recipe is to baste them every 5 minutes and then cook them for a total of 15 minutes. My grandmother and mother never did that. They just took them out at the end of the 15 minutes when they were cooked, and they actually just dumped them in the pan, flipped them over, and then put them out on a rack. So we're going to try doing it both ways. We're going to try doing some basting them every 5 minutes, and we're going to do some just dunking them at the end. So we'll see how it turns out. So we tried doing the basting thing every 5 minutes, but that really wasn't working out, because trying to baste on top of the potato that wasn't cooked, it was just spreading it around. So we're going back to just dunking them in the butter. Actually, there's more milk than butter in this, but so dipping them in the butter and milk mixture and then setting them off to cool on a rack, and then moving them over to a towel afterwards to dry up a little bit. So that was, we made a double batch of those, and we ended up with three batches in the oven. About 3 dozen, so that's not bad. So hopefully that'll last us till Christmas. They're not all that complicated to make, actually. It's just a little more time consuming and a fair bit of technique, I guess, to cooking them right. And like I said, I still can't get the come to brown as nicely as I've seen a lot of them, but they still taste good. Now, with the fact that they aren't that hard to make, but in Finland, you could buy them in any store. You just go in and they're there on the shelf, which totally freaked me out when I was there last year, because you know that was always something that you would have at your grandmother's place or your mother would make for Christmas or something. So it wasn't something that was so easily available all the time. And I remember when I was younger, teenager, like high school years, there was a friend of mine from Finland, and talking with her, I told her that if she knew how to make Karjalanpiirakka, I would marry her. Maybe half serious, but she didn't know how to make them, so too bad. Who knows what might have been. The worst part, she still doesn't know how to make them. It's too late anyways. She reminded me of that the other day. It was quite funny. I had forgotten all about it, but it's quite funny. And especially insulting when I know now how easy they are to make. It's like, what? So we got the double boiler set up here with the rice. Cooking, that's about an hour in that it's been cooking to make some riisipiirakka. And let it cool overnight, then tomorrow make some more piirakka. This time I'm making riisipiirakka, rice pies. Does piirakka translate directly to pie? I have to look that up. But so last time I made perunappiirakka, potato piirakkas, and a couple things that I don't believe I did properly was I don't believe my oven was hot enough, and I used too much milk in the basting afterwards. So they didn't turn out quite like mom's. So I had a long chat with my mom the other night, and talked to her about them, and things that they did when they were cooking them. So got a few pointers, and now I'm going to try that out with the riisipiirakkas. Actually, did you know Karjalanpiirakka is a protected name in the a protected product in the European Union? Traditional authentic product or something like that. So the name has protection under the European Union, where you can't just make any kind of piirakka and then sell it as a Karjalanpiirakka. You have to adhere to certain, I don't believe it's like Scotch, where Scotch needs to be made in Scotland, but the Karjalanpiirakka needs to be made a certain way in order for it to be sold or called Karjalanpiirakka. So, just for argument's sake, these are going to be Karjalanpiirakka. I do my best, but I definitely, I don't believe I'm going to be able to get an inspector from the European Union to come check them out for me. But yeah, so when I was a kid, riisipiirakka was definitely my favorite. But my taste has changed a little bit, and now I really enjoy the perunappiirakka, the potato piirakka. I'm making these ones a little bit bigger as well. Look at that, the first one turned out almost perfect. This is the other nice part with riisipiirakka. You got the rice pudding afterwards to eat with some cinnamon sugar. My mother and grandmothers, they used to make a mansakki. I'm not pronouncing that right, or it doesn't sound right. Mansakki. Oh. Anyway, like a blueberry sauce. And then you put that on top of risipuro. So good. It didn't turn out too bad. That was the last one that Lex made with all the extra that was left. So it's a little bit bigger. It's actually not a bad size. So the first batch, the potatoes really expanded in the oven. So they came up pretty thick. Second batch and third batch, we thinned them out a little bit. So, which one do you want to try? The big one?
This is the one that we took out everything with?
Yeah. The one thing that I realized in Finland is that they serve these a lot with an egg butter. I tried making it a few times here, but I also found out that the butter in Finland is a different texture, consistency than what we have. So that's probably why I can't get it to be the same as what we had in Finland. The other thing with these piirakkas I always find is that even though they're nice when they're hot and fresh, they taste a little better the next day after it's had time to, the flavors have had time to coalesce. Is that the word? Mix? Coalesce? My personal favorite is to take some of the ham from Christmas and put some ham and butter on it. That's my favorite. And with dipping them in the butter on the pan, they're not as crispy right away, so it takes some time. Tomorrow, put them in a paper bag, and then tomorrow the crust will be a little bit crispier as well. But there we go. Hopefully they'll last us till Christmas.